All right. Monday, new week. Pretty interesting week in terms of economic calendar. London open session and quick review of that. Monday, obviously nothing on the calendar. No news Monday. Pretty light. Tuesday, some medium impact news around 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. mirror bullet potentially there. Wednesday, loaded with some high impact news events throughout the AM session, New York time. And Thursday NFP because Friday bank holiday. So shorter week, NFP on Thursday, and yeah, pretty wild news events for this week. Monday, Tuesday, theoretically best days to trade this week potentially. But yeah, overall, yeah, that's the lay of the land. So yeah, going into the Nasdaq first today. Going into the Nasdaq first, price took sell side liquidity last week here, headed into this week, but couldn't really find any traction through it. And we are back on track, trading some higher recently. Traded through the consecutive encroachment of this discount week there. That should technically act as premium. We have relative equal highs that I like up there and relative equal highs up here. But at the same time, we have relative equal lows across the board. So technically, from the 50-minute standpoint, we do have both sides smooth, pretty much. Now quickly trying to recalibrate the annotations, but nonetheless, the buy side liquidity right here on the near term, very smooth, and the sell side liquidity here and here, yeah, specifically here, very smooth on the near term. What's the current range? I would say from this high to this low. That's the range. The 50% is around here, which means we are technically more in more of a discount currently in regards to that particular range, which could mean that some measure of trading higher first would be welcome in a sense. Let me see the MES. All right. Daily chart also traded to this week, right there. Technically a discount of the daily range here. Tap into that. New week opening up, we trading back into it, and we have some very smooth liquidity on the upside that's still waiting to be tapped. We did run some buys there, yes, but nonetheless, look at these highs here being posted all together. That looks very smooth all together with the smooth buy side up here. On the downside, obviously we do have still a measure of sell side that's relatively smooth too, especially here. Not much there. Nasdaq has this smooth. ES has this more jagged here. And we'll see how we go about that. Might be interesting. Nonetheless, the buy side seems to be a little bit too smooth near term. Let's see. We see a little bit of a drop here. So I will look into that. Hello, Mr. M. Zain. Yeah, I think I'm pretty decent. Today is gonna be a very hot day where I live. So that might be a little bit annoying, but other than that, all good. What about you, Mr. M. Zain? So yeah, we took this old high here, but fall short of really purging that buy side liquidity above here, like very efficiently. We are just tapping into it and using it as a resistance, moreover. And yeah, eventually I would like to see it smash right on through it. Let's see. We had a clear stop hunt right here. So this was a pretty smooth level. Price tapped into it and then quickly repelled away. Ever since we are trading higher technically. Just recently we had this inefficiency here. It was a SEBI, price trade up into it, and we are selling off politely. There are some measure of relative equal lows down here that I'm happy to watch and study near term. And we'll see what we eventually get from that. Dollar index near term weakness. I mean, a little bit of a near term weakness. Some measure of relative equal lows were taken and or engaged right here. Very smooth level. Tapped right into it. MMQ looking quite different here. SMT on the highs right away. When we compare the 1 minute chart, I will do so right here, right now, just for the banter. All right. So we can clearly see we have a high and a lower high on ES, and a high or the same high and a higher high on Nasdaq. Right? At the same time, we have technically a low and a lower low on ES, while we have a low and a higher low on Nasdaq. So technically, we have a measure of SMT on both sides of the spectrum here. Which isn't that much of a clue at the moment, but that's just interesting to watch and see. All right, so 3 a.m. started just now. 3 a.m. started just now. I will want to add this inversion for value up here on the 50-minute, because that's what we will be working with currently. It overlaps with the opening range gap consecutive encroachment nicely. So that's a very solid PD array formed during the Asian session kill zone, basically. And I will add this little busy here for completeness sake. And because we went above it here, now trading into it, both of these are potential discount arrays that I'll be watching near term. All right, so we see a little bit of more of a drop on ES and Nasdaq. ES clearing the sell side liquidity here. That was the near term sell side. Let's see, I still like the buy side here and here potentially. With the current structure, I favor that. So let's see, Nasdaq seems to be a little bit stronger in comparison to ES. Sell side was taken. This opening range gap consecutive encroachment overlaps almost perfectly with the consecutive encroachment of this blue busy. So let's see, we do have inefficiency here. In form of a CB. And this is the last inefficiency before taking out the sell side liquidity here on the near term. And now we are diving a little bit deeper into this inversion for value gap. Hello, don't you, Christian? Welcome. Welcome. All right, so the initial idea is something like inversing this 301 bearish for value gap, right? They am allowed for max risk engagement too. Something like this would be my stop loss, and I would be aiming for the buy side liquidity clearly. Obviously, best case scenario would be here, right? That would be like the best case scenario. All right, and now let's see. If we can get a inversion of this level. We taken sell side liquidity here. We are tapping into this inversion for value gap, so for upper half of both. This BC, this larger inversion, and potentially we have some buy side yet to be attacked. And Nasdaq seems to be the stronger one in comparison. to ES. All right, so initially we tapped into this bearish fair value gap here, trade to the high of it and work a little bit lower. Let's see if we can make a lower low here or not. We stopped exactly at the consecutive encroachment of the opening range gap from Friday. We are at the or in the upper half of this 50-minute inversion and this busy too, and seems like we are respecting that quite nicely. So if we can close above this level here and basically inverse this fair value gap, then I'm generally or technically interested in involving myself with a long. All right, so far we are tapping or trading just inside of it. I want to see that close first and then trade into it. If we go more aggressively here, I would extend this inversion flag up to this low, potentially use that one. So let's see what it does, what it offers after all. We do see some major SMT on the lows between ES and Nasdaq. That's silver bullet. That means silver bullet. So it's basically the name of the model. that I'm trying to utilize. All right, so far no inversion here presented, therefore I'm not interested in doing anything else. Just watching price. If it wants to make a lower low here, I don't have anything against that. What is QT? Actually, so yeah, on the grand scheme, we have SMT on the lows between ES and Nasdaq clearly. The 1 a.m. lows on ES taken out, 1 a.m. lows on Nasdaq, not even close. I'm still watching for potential SMTs here near term, too, on the lows. So far, we don't necessarily see that much of that. But yeah, we have a larger scheme SMT in play, I believe. All right, so looks like there is attempt to we might see an attempt to close above that. If we do, we did. I just click the button and let's see if I will get an entry here off of this 301 bullish inversion for value gap. And yep, yes, also rallying. Nasdaq is technically a little bit stronger near term, so we'll see how it goes. All right, quite a big of a rally here right away. Still, let's see if I can see a return back to this inversion for value gap. So now technically, if I wanted to be a little bit uh, I don't know, maybe not aggressive, but a little bit more evolving with the idea. I could use this high as the means of entry too, but that would technically make my stop loss a little bit greater than I would necessarily like it to be. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I would rather see that return back there lower, but we'll see if I get it at all or not. So we see a displacement higher, two bullish fair value gaps being formed. All right, so let's see what we can get out of this, if we can get anything out of it really. Still early into the session, so I would say that would be a reasonable expectation to see it at least make an attempt to trade into this inversion here. Fair enough, disciplined trader. Fair enough. Well, on the 2-minute chart, we have this inefficiency, this CB here, this inversion for value gap. And it's clearly larger than the 1 minute. So as far as a potential adjustment, I would go as far with using this low as the entry, potentially, for that inversion fair value gap. But in that case, I would need to reduce the leverage by 2 contracts, at least. And that's how it would look like. But let's see, near term, I just want to see how it does. If it shows anything at all too. That would be interesting. All right, looks like we are getting a measure of return back lower here. The upper threshold was reached for a potential inversion fair value gap. I'd still like to see it potentially tap into this, nonetheless. But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, in regards to this little displacement here from low to high, 50% is here, and the inversion fair value gap that I want to use is just below that. So it seems quite reasonable. That I might get an entry, especially as we have a bearish fair value gap here. That if we go above that, I could potentially use this as a means of inversion fair value gap too. So I'm allowing for the price to tap lower here. But if for some reason it will not do so, I could use this as a potential inversion fair value gap here too, and potentially get a little bit of the move, right? At least that's the theory. Let's see. It went very close to the entry and it moved quickly away here, so we'll see. Might be missing that there. All right, how hypothetically would that look like? Something like this, probably. So with slightly reduced leverage. Let's see, because we are already trading above that. Yeah, so it would look something like this. The stop loss would need still to cover potential return back to that lower one, if at all. And yeah, looks like we closed above that. Oh well, I failed to do this well. What? Well, I don't know why, but it keeps failing. Why I cannot modify the... What? Alright, let's see. Cancel it completely. That's the potential limit on the upper fair value gap here, inversion. It's already running, looks like, which means I might be missing that out. Or I might be missing out on that. Well, let's see. I mean, if I wanted to use that higher threshold entry here, I could have done it and I would have been filled. I still was hoping that I will get this entry here, potentially, at this lower 1 minute inversion. Maybe in fact that was a little bit too ambitious. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was. But let's see, nonetheless. So 50% of this range will be at the low of the daily volume imbalance / new week opening up low. So yeah, I mean, I think like this is like the extension of an entry that I could potentially take here, allowing for a potential return lower if it would want to capitalize on that. But assuming that it's strong, assuming that it doesn't want to do so, assuming that it should be left open here, then this would be like the way to go about it, I feel like. So let's see, nonetheless, that's like the best case scenario. tripped me nonetheless on this 322 inversion for value gap. All right, so let's see. I'm technically in. My stop loss is below this inversion fair value gap as a whole, below the low and couple ticks below that. I'm using the higher one here, but I'm allowing or permitting the price, if it wants to touch one more time into the lower one, it's allowed to do so. First profit objective on my side with this entry is here. That's where I want to take 50% off, and final target, the draw, the actual draw up there, and we'll see how it goes. Nasdaq I consider stronger, the stronger indice, in relatively stronger in comparison to the ES, so it should have a rather easy time to see some lift to the upside and be delivering higher. We'll see how it goes, obviously, but that's like the idea. All right, so far we looks like we are respecting that inversion for value gap and making a little bit of a turn here. So let's see if we can make a measure of displacement higher from where we are right now. And yeah, I mean it's 335. We still necessarily haven't seen a protraction after 330, so that's potentially still open. Let's see. All right, nice little displacement here higher off of that inversion. I like to see that for sure. Let's see if we can see some speed towards the near term high in here and just smash right on through it. So the partial is ahead of those equal highs here. That's pretty comfortable spot. And at the low of the new week opening up, so that's also like a likely level. If it's going to gravitate higher, that's a reasonably likely level on the upside. And did we poke this buy side? Yes, we did poke that high by just a little bit. There are some relative equal highs there nonetheless. So it would really, I would really like to see it follow through that more aggressively rather than just a shallow run, obviously. And we might be seeing that just now. So let's see if the next candle can follow through. All right, it does initially at least, so that's pretty fine. All right, I would say so far so good. Let's see if this rally can continuously be seeking higher, because that's what I'm looking for, really. That's my ultimate draw on liquidity, so I want to see price gravitate towards that direction. Even if it fails to reach up there completely, that's fine, as long as it can continuously be gravitating towards that level. So I'm approaching my first partial on the setup here. Let's see if I can get it. All right, very close to that. So let's see. It's at a higher time frame PD array low, which should technically be a rather high probability idea to be attacked, I believe. There you go. So I got the first partial here, and that basically allows me to move my stop loss to cover the costs I mean, I already covered the cost with the partial, but to secure the break even in here. So yeah, the risk is removed. I'm not sure how these limit orders will work here after I did that, but I assume that it will not execute the 6 but 3 instead. At least I hope so. So let's see. I have a free look now on the buy sell liquidity up there. All right, so there is a very small little Verweil gap at 339 that I'm watching, and I would really like to see it repel price higher off of that. I don't necessarily think we need to come back all the way down to this inversion Verweil gap here if it's really good. If it's really good, it should be turning around here. I believe there was a short-term swing low that was formed, taken out right here. So I'm watching whether we can see a measure of rejection and reaction to the upside. That would basically mean that the bullish order flow is being sustained. Short-term lows are being bought, and the ultimate draw would be pretty likely as an expectation on the upside, right? But yeah, I mean, this is quite a comfortable spot to be in, as I banked already something off of this trade already, and it cannot be a loser anymore, which, regardless of the outcome, is a very, very, very good spot to be in. Small little inefficiency here, tapped into. The body staying inside of the upper one. Let's see, the buy side is still intact, so in my opinion it could be like preparing that run, that expansion here. That's what I would expect. I wouldn't like to see it fail here. If it does, then the buy side will be probably deferred for now. But according to this little structure in here, it should be screaming higher aggressively. Exactly, that's what I wanted to see. And see you, Mr. Discipline Trader. Bye, thanks for tuning in. And now, as we took the buy set here with this displacement, I definitely don't want to see it falter and go lower at this moment. So it should be seeking that draw altogether. And yeah, that's what I would stick with. If it turns around and stops me out here, no biggie, that's fine. I will not mind that. But it should not do that if I'm correct on the entire read and draw and stuff and you know, things like that. Alright, so this initial rejection here after taking out the buy side liquidity is a little bit suspect in some regard. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it will go, but I would say if it's good, it should not rather should not attack this sell set here, because if it does, then it's a little bit more iffy in my mind, because we would have buy side, some measure of relative equal highs taken, then rejected like this. That would be like a potential shift, a breaker even potentially, and stuff like that. So it would be a little bit problematic. Nonetheless, still ES didn't quite match the highs in here, so ES has definitely some room on the upside that it could potentially seek, while Nasdaq made another higher high, proving that it's the stronger one of the pair. And if that's the case, it might have even further upside available, while ES will be catching up or playing catch up. But yeah, that remains to be seen, I guess. And whatever happens. I still think, I mean, until the entries, I mean, until the stop loss isn't triggered here, then the game is technically on. And yeah, we'll just see. So yeah, nonetheless, I want to add another variation of the silver bullet here to the series to make it a little bit more advanced too. Because yeah, lately I was just sticking to that very simple I mean the simple of the simplest models here for the silver bullet, and it's all perfectly fine and good. I love it, but recently I felt like adding another variation of that model would be something maybe interesting to watch and see and track how it goes. But I'm considering, or I'm thinking how to incorporate that into the tracking of the series in terms of the win rate of the model, because so far I was trading that simple version, the classic simple version, and that's the win rate for that. And that's how it went. But now I don't know if I want to mix the variation, the more advanced variation, to that scoreboard. I mean, I might, but I might also create a new label here to have a better tracking. Well, not sure. All right, looks like we are at the crossroads here, nonetheless, taking out or approaching this short-term low here, which will be the last chance in my mind to send it higher. Otherwise, it might suffer a deeper retracement. Near term, yes, looks like it lost its steam and it might want to retrace. Let's see. Nasdaq cleared out the buy side and now trying to go a little bit lower, but yeah, we'll see. The position stays as it is so far. I'm not changing anything. If it goes for the stop here, that's fine. I'll take the break even like this after taking a partial profit, nonetheless. That's all good. So yeah, I mean, this is the make or break point, as I mentioned. And at this point, it could go for my stop. It could go higher. I don't know what it will necessarily do. 100%. At this moment, it's kind of 50-50. It could go both, but the position that I'm in already funded with this partial, and the stop loss is at better than even, meaning that whatever happens, I'll be fine, right? I can only be more fine or just fine, which is perfect spot to be in as a trader. So yeah, the probabilities here when we are down there were in favor of higher prices. I entered long, capitalized on that. Right now the probabilities are more of a 50-50 near term, meaning we could see higher, we could see lower, but I'm in a spot that it's already a very convenient for me. So. All right, so I guess I will add the W to this layout nonetheless as the general silver bullet tracker. 13 win, 16 losses, 1 break even. All right, nice displacement near term here. I like to see that. This is promising. This is quite promising. Yes, he's trying to play the catch up. Has still buy set to go. Definitely, which means Nasdaq in that case would be allowed for reaching that ultimate draw, if that's the case. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can follow through that. Very nice follow through. Approaching this short-term high here, and I would like to see a measure of quick displacement towards the actual draw up there, and I'll be pretty much done with it then. So let's see if I can get that. And yep. Already like one tick short of the limit. Yeah, that's the thing. ES is playing catch up. Nasdaq was also allowed to rally. Let's see. I mean, falling short by one tick like this will be a little bit annoying. But yeah. But yeah, I guess that's life. Yeah, looks like I fall short of that take profit by just what was the high on this candle? 714 even. Take profit was at 715 and a half, so 1.5 handle short of the actual limit there. And yeah, this rejection is no good. I don't like that. So yeah, I guess I can move my stop loss here below this low to secure just a little bit more, because yeah, 99% of my target was already reached, and if it turns around there, I just don't necessarily want to give all of that unrealized profit. So if I can bank just a little bit of that, still it will be better than nothing. But let's see, we had this like strong pullback lower. We failed to inverse this fair value gap, and we are bulking up a rally again. So this should actually fill me. So yeah, that actually should give me my exit here. Because the buy side is still resting up there, and that's the second pass that's very quick after this large, or no, maybe not large, but more significant, more sizable and quick retracement lower. Currently falling short one handle away from my actual target. But yeah, I'm pretty confident it should actually get it though with this. All right, just falling short like this here. Interesting though. Interesting. I was very confident that the second run in here will tap into that buy side. Nonetheless, but looks like they are really preventing that from happening. So let's see. I mean, return back into this fair value gap. Last chance to see it bulk up, I guess. But yeah, very, very suspect. I mean, they are trying to sell the idea that it's resistance now, which, still might be something to fade, but near term, I'll definitely already take it or tap into it if they wanted to, but swinging for the fences near term. Well, is it D Martin Schwartz? Hey man. All right, so I mean, if it fails to sell off here, the third attempt it's guaranteed taking me. I mean, giving me the take profit, but already quite some interesting shenanigans being pulled out or pulled off. So yeah, I just hope it will be quick either way, higher or lower. I just don't want to spend too much time inside of a consolidation here. Just get me out. If it's good, that's fine. If it's not, I mean, that's all right either. All right, looks like another return back into this fair value gap. And I really want to see it just reject and run the buy side if it's good here. And don't spend too much time inside of this consolidation slash balance price range by now, because we offered both sides of the marketplace already, up and down, up and down, up and down. And the longer we stay like this, the less I like it, really. So yeah, again, both. I mean, either the stop loss or take profit are equally likely at this moment. Maybe take profit is slightly more likely because it's in line with the draw, but all right, trading to the low of this fair value gap, also approaching the low of the new week opening gap also here. So this is kind of like the line in the sand where it should or could see a little bit of discount sensitivity to send it higher one more time and clear out the buy side liquidity that it's engineering even now. And that would be something that I would like to see, and it's in line with the position that I have. If it stops me out here, then I definitely want to be stopped out for sure, and I'm giving it, I don't know, 10 to 15 minute max, I believe. If it doesn't do anything by that time, then I'll be just up to closing it by hand. I don't want to spend too much time watching this consolidation. So yeah, I mean, it seems like, I don't know, let's say 4:30 New York time. If it doesn't move until that time, or by the time, that would be like a time stop on this position here. That seems reasonable. Because yeah, it failed 2 times to fill me. I mean, first time it fell short 1.5 handle. Then quickly I got the second run, and it fell short by 1 handle of the take profit for this position. And ever since, we are seeing a measure of consolidation here, which is just marking time for the most part, spending lots of time inside of this fair value gap, which I don't like generally. But yeah, because I'm in a position that is already pretty good, pretty comfortable, I can't lose really. I can only win more if it goes to the draw, which would be the moral victory. Therefore, I can hold it and be very, very relaxed about it, I guess, and indifferent to the outcome, really. Martin Schwartz said, "Here we go." So yeah, we see the green light, and now we can expect the price to just smash right on through it. So third time approaching the limit here, it should have no issues of getting through that. Also, the fact that we spent so much time just below that ultimate draw makes me think that we might see a measure of a deeper run above it after we run it out. Well, the fuck? No. Alright, so that's actually, that sucks. The limit orders here. I mean, GG nonetheless, but it wasn't supposed to fill me on a short there. Alright, so I will need to manage that a little bit differently. But what the heck? That was not supposed to fill me short afterwards, but yeah. Nonetheless, that was a W, nonetheless. Even with this little shenanigan that played out, which will now look ugly on the screenshot, but well, that's slightly annoying. That's slightly annoying. Thanks for the W's. Yeah, Null, but I mean, I know, but I was trying to change that. I was trying to change that order to 3, but it just wasn't allowing me to do so. I don't know, like maybe, yeah, I mean, I had 3 on. The limit was for 6, yes, but that was the original limit for the position, and I was trying to change to 3, but it was just not working. So for the future, I believe I will need to cancel out the take profit and the stop loss. No, the stop loss will stay, but I will need to cancel out the take profit and just put my own limit order with the size that I want. But yeah, good to know nonetheless, because if I left it, if I just left it without watching, then I could have been surprised. But yeah, nonetheless, thanks for watching, guys. Kudos to you. I traded today, so I will be back tomorrow, I suppose. Let me show you the balance for now, and the balance is 52,405.75. So that's the balance for today. The profit for today is 625 even. Would be slightly more, but I made a little bit mistake, so yeah, maybe no, maybe that's a solution too. I will need to try and see how it goes, how it does. But usually theoretically they should like reduce the order, the original order, by the amount that I already took off, right? And or at least allow me to modify that. But for some reason I couldn't modify that, and they didn't reduce that position. So that's, yeah, annoying, just annoying. But nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I wish you guys a pleasant reminder of the day, and see you tomorrow. So yeah, bye bye.